So you call it a simple subject. What do you mean exactly by the term simple that you use here?
It speaks about archaeology, it speaks about primates, speaks about cultures, speaks about tribes, language. It can be easily understood and it is more relatable. A question appeared in 2025. Why Africa is so central to the evolution of humans? You understand the things, you understand the theories, you understand it in a contemporary perspective. Like for example, much recently, there's a controversy of cockroaches in India. Now, what is that? That is cultural determinism. UPSC preparation is something that there is always a lag between what we say completion of the course and the actual preparation. There is a very well saying in UPSC itself that you must limit your source and go for n number of revision of that particular source.
Which topic made you think ये याद कैसे होगा?
Dynamism is not something which is a cup of tea in UPSC. One of the major problem with anthropology related students.
Sir, is there any topic that you enjoy teaching?
For all those students who are appearing for 2026, one thing that you must pick up into.
Hello aspirants, welcome to yet another episode of The Optional Advantage. Today we are going to discuss the much awaited Anthropology Optional, and joining us here today we have as our guest Dr. Saurabh Jain with 14 years of teaching experience, and he is a researcher as well as an academician. A very warm welcome, sir.
Hi.
I hope you're doing good today.
Yeah, good. It is fine.
So, sir, let's begin with the question answer round. Sir, a lot of students discover anthropology as a subject after they enter the UPSC ecosystem. What was the moment that the subject caught your attention?
Anthropology came naturally to me actually, hailing to a biological science background. The domains, the ideas, they came naturally. Obviously, the socio-cultural aspect came when I entered into the preparation for anthropology. And when we are appearing, obviously in our state PCS, anthropology and public administration were the subject. There was no choice, or if you have to get selected, anthropology was the subject. So somehow it compelled me that, but then it generated an interest. And during my research orientations also, I have been working with Department of Science and Technology related project also, and that was more concentrated towards the tribal area. So the academics and then the exposure, the field exposure created a kind of interest in anthropology. Later on during my research works also, I have gone for epigenetic research also. I was looking on to various different molecular anthropology related aspects also. That was one aspect of my research domain, not exactly the molecular anthropology. So somehow that interest remained with me. And when I did my all these things, but I entered into teaching anthropology quite late. Maybe I'm a late bloomer. But that interest persisted.
Sir, anthropology is considered to be an engineer's optional.
Yeah.
Also, it is said to favor science students. So, sir, first of all, how much of this is true? And also, what is it that makes anthropology so important, particularly so?
This, I would say, it is the practical misconception with the students, that it is a science background student subject, or it is an engineer's optional, or it is a biological science person's optional. No, it is not so. Had it been then the basic idea or the basic syllabus of anthropology somehow balances between science and humanities, right? So equal preferences are being given to both of them, either the science background student or the humanities background student itself, right? Both will have their separate preferences, and both will have to somehow link it up to certain subjects, which are certain topics which not have been known to them during their preparation or say during graduation itself. So it is equally important for both the type of students that we have, right? Either the science background student or it is humanities background student. Added advantage to that is it is simple for both of them. So we say it is gaining an importance right now. It is gaining an importance because the extent is so simple. It can be fetched easily, right? There are no, I should not compare it with other subjects also. Like the humanities background subjects, they will have more of the theories and thoughts and thinkers and extravaganza of thinkers and theories and thoughts itself. Anthropology limits that particular thing to more applicable aspect. So it is more applicable to the science background student. The science background student is not somehow fed off that sociological thought, or we can say anthropological thought also. And similar is with the non-science background student also. When they look into the biological perspectives or biology, it can be easily tackled also. Right? So it is good for both of them.
So you call it a simple subject. What do you mean exactly by the term simple that you use here?
It is simple in the nature of understanding.
Much.
It is simple. You need not to have very vast knowledge or vast criteria or an elaborated dictionary of things to understand anthropology. It is simple for everyone. I mean, what does it speaks about? It speaks about archaeology. It speaks about primates. Speaks about cultures. Speaks about tribes, language. It can be easily understood, and it is more relatable. You relate it to yourself. Anthropology is the study of humans, so you relate it to your development, you relate it to your culture, you relate it to things happening in the surrounding. So it is simple.
Sir, would you call it a rather static or a dynamic subject? And how important are current affairs in this discipline? How can a student integrate them? Issues like migration, for example, tribal health, public health, all of these issues. How can they be integrated?
See, I would not say it is static, or I would not say it is quite dynamic also. No subject is as dynamic, what we say as dynamic, right? Quote unquote dynamism is not something which is a cup of tea in UPSC. It is always a course of syllabi, it is always the nature of the syllabi. So if I say it is static, yes, it is static with the extent that the constraints of syllabus, the constraints of topics which are being asked, they remain almost the same, in the same line. But if I say it is dynamic, yes, it is dynamic when we input the contemporary issues, like you have spoken about, the globalization, the ethnocentric concerns, the tribal issues, the language related issues. All these things, they remain as those particular aspects which are the dynamic aspects of anthropology, and they add on to the contemporary issue of anthropology. But the very well nature of anthropology is we have to understand anthropology with the contemporary perspective. You understand the things, you understand the theories, you understand it in a contemporary perspective. Like, for example, much recently, there's a controversy of cockroaches in India. And CGI is speaking some certain things, and it has been taken into certain other aspects. And what is that? That is cultural determinism. Now, you identify that particular thing and link it up to the kind of nature of theories you have the ideas you identify those examples, and you input those examples in your understanding. That is the nature of contemporary, we say, or the dynamism you say in anthropology.
Right, sir. Sir, how do you think anthropology has evolved over the past few years, let's say 5 to 7 years, in terms of the question trends being asked, the expectations being set?
When you look up to the previous year questions itself, obviously there is a sense of evolution, and this has been a misconception also with anthropology. Much recently, there has been a hue and cry that anthropology is not that simple, it is not that easy, the questions are very tough. Students started thinking about various things, that whether I have taken anthropology, it is a good subject or not, or it is a good optional or not. There are multiple misconceptions among students, and they have started looking on to various other optionals also. Okay, fine, anthropology is not that good. Problem is, in the last 2 or 3 or even 5 years, I say, how it has evolved. Initially, the topics were more static. The nature of question paper was majority of the questions, either they were directly linked to the previous year questions or the topics which are asked in previous year questions. Now, it is the interdisciplinary understanding of the questions. One aspect of the syllabus is linked to the other aspect of the syllabus. You simply understand with the primates itself. In the recent time, a question appeared in 2025. Why Africa is so central to the evolution of humans? A simple question. But it speaks about all different primates that have evolved across Africa, starting from, say, Australopithecus to Homo sapiens, which have evolved. So you have to write it down in that particular aspect. So now I exemplify this particular, why I'm taking this example, this is more relatable. When you understand the question right now over here, the earlier questions were either on Australopithecus or on Homo erectus or on Neanderthal. Now it is asking about how it has chronologically evolved into humans in Africa, and what has been the debates of Africa being the center of evolution. Just a simple example of it, how the questions or the trends have changed. It has become more interdisciplinary and nothing else. Syllabus remains the same. The textbook remains the same also. One of the major problem with anthropology related students also, they confine to a particular content itself. They confine to a particular, say, notes or to a particular book itself. When you prepare for optional, you have to dive into the understanding. That comes from various different standard books. Of course, the books are also not that much varied, or the number of books which are to be concentrated on, they are limited. But standard text must be read beforehand when you have started writing the answer itself. Right? You cannot rely upon a single notes or something that you have found in, say, XYZ notes or XYZ concise topic or XYZ thing. That will limit your understanding. And that actually is the basic problem of hue and cry, where students have started asking that, okay, fine, now anthropology is so good or not? Or there is game over for anthropology. There's nothing game over for anthropology. It is one of the easy optional. One of the easy topics are being asked in anthropology. Dynamicity is not that much. It's just that you have to understand the syllabus, the essence of the syllabus. You link that essence of the syllabus properly, and then it becomes easy for you.
Sir, so you're suggesting that perhaps the finding connections and interlinkages and probably interdisciplinarity, evolving interdisciplinarity in the questions is something that students are perhaps struggling with these days.
Yes.
What else or what part of anthropology do you think the students struggle with the most? And also, what do you suggest are the ways to overcome that?
You see, the struggling factor is different for different student actually. Since it is humanities and science based, the blend of both the things are being seen over there. It is not pro humanities, it is not pro science. So the humanities based student will have a difficulty in science based topics, like you speak about genetics or you speak about the evolutionary perspectives. Similarly, the science based student will have problems associated with the anthropological thought, the tribal culture, etc. But then too, of all these subjects that we see, obviously archaeological anthropology, when you understand about primates, when you understand about the overall archaeological sites, it becomes burdensome because it is more information based. Rest of the things, they are more conceptual. Archaeological anthropology somehow becomes more information based because you have to understand various things. You have to mug up various things. You have to bring it down to a systematic study. So somehow it can be challenging for certain students. Some students also find biological perspectives, the genetics and the overall development of all that may be difficult for certain students, but is not difficult if you understand the essence of it. It is simple. And if it is being read, see, you study all these things in your GS also. You study biology or you study biotechnology in GS also. The only difference is you study it superficially, then you expected anthropology to be that superficial again. You are reading for an optional subject, you have to dive in deep. Somehow, you have to create connections. Be it be a humanities student, you have to create a connection for science-based topics if there are any. And if you are a science-based student, you have to create connections for the humanities-based topics which are there in the topic itself. So there is no as such hard topic for anthropology. It is all simple.
Right, sir. Sir, also you've mentored quite a few students successfully as well. And I would like to know what exactly are the consistent habits or patterns that you perceive among successful aspirants. And on the flip side, there are students who are able to complete the syllabus in time, are able to revise, but somehow they do not make the cut. What do you think differentiates the two?
Say for not only anthropology, UPSC preparation is something that there is always a lag between what we say completion of the course and the actual preparation. There's always a lag, be it being general studies, be it being optional. Students somehow they think that I have completed this particular syllabus, say in 3 months, 4 months, or X number amount of time. I have prepared that particular thing. There is a difference in completing the syllabus and preparing a particular subject also. Right? So we have to understand that particular lag which is being created while, say, preparing the subject. And that comes in when you read a particular thing, you have to understand the essence and start writing that particular thing from where you have started. Now, what actually students think that my writing must start from PYQ, the previous year question. I should be at that particular level. I should be prepared at that particular level. But reaching up to a particular level would require a sense of gradual uptakes of topics. And it is a process. It is a process where you assemble the topic, you assemble the facts, you assemble the information regarding that. You learn to present that particular information also. This lag somehow between completing and preparing is one basic problem with students facing problem, be it in any subject, right? With anthropology also, with students we have seen those students which have been consistent in writing, say from word go, or say I have started with the meaning of anthropology. Now I'm trying to write the meaning of anthropology. I'm trying to assimilate what is the meaning of anthropology. I'm trying to understand the meaning of anthropology. If I say anthropology is relevant, then what is meant by this particular term being relevant? If I say anthropology is holistic, then what is meant by what this particular term holistic? They try to write it down. I'm just trying to break it down in a simple way. And then they write it down at the PYQ level also that anthropology is holistic, comparative and objective science, critically analyzed. This question, when you reach up to, you have to build up those particular things. Those steps must be taken. Those baby steps must be taken. There could not be any a kind of athletic jump in preparing. So that lag has to be filled up. Usually, sometimes students do not carry that amount of time which is being given for the preparation. They have to carry that amount of time. They have to be patient. Secondly, the sources which are being referred to. Students usually try to constrict to sources. Now, there is a very well saying in UPSC itself that you must limit your source and go for n number of revision of that particular source.
Yes, sir.
Now, it does not mean that you limit your stem itself.
Right, sir.
The stem means where the things originate, the thoughts originate, the perspectives originate, right? Those stems at least must be read, brought down on a single note, say on a sheet of paper, say on a copy. Right? You have read, say, 3 books related to which are explaining the simple meaning of anthropology is holistic. Now, I've understood from these 3 things, then you write it down on a single sheet of paper, or say in a notes, or say while you're preparing that particular thing would be done. Then you revise that source. So the practical saying is revise a particular source n number of time, but you create that single source also. That is somehow becomes challenging for students. They limit the source at the stem itself. Because of that particular fear, oh, I have to read so many books, there are so much content, how would I prepare? And obviously, there has been a role reversal right now in UPSC from, say, GS perspectives and optionals perspective. So somehow students think it is a matter of 600 marks. If it is easy to read this particular notes and I'm able to fetch, say, 200, 240 is fair enough, I'll score more in GS. And that does not happen. Right. Usually students have to somehow appear or somehow fetch out 270, 280 marks in, or say 290 marks in optional. Right? 300 is utopic practically. 300 is being spoken of. It is utopic. It is utopic even for mathematics optional also right now. Right? So when you say that particular thing, or when you understand this particular thing, that what amount of marks is to be fetched out, that importance has to be given sincerely. Do not limit the sources. When you read, when you're reading it, when you are preparing it, or when you are completing your syllabus, do not limit the source. Limit the source once you have completed the syllabus. Right? That is the basic problem that we see with the students appearing and with the students not appearing, or with the students getting a success. The initial problem is with that. Right? That stems out into many things. They lose on information. They are practically not able to write down good answers, or the presentation somehow lags. or the analytical perspective is not being developed. When you depend on a single note available, say any XYZ note, that may not be written, or if that is written, that must be written just to present the information, not to present the thought, not to present the essence. But when you read the essential books, that essence has been created. Right? So this is one basic problem with the students, and for all those students which are preparing, and so for all those students which are facing a particular problem constantly, go back, vice versa. Look down to a particular topic. Set your books. There are not many books for anthropology which are also recommended, but there are certain standard books out of which the questions also come out, the lineage of the topics also come out. Right? Like for example, students say that anthropology related content, IGNOU is the best material. IGNOU is the best material when it is the understanding of the extent of topics is concerned. Because IGNOU books are written in a very summarized way. The debates, the understandings, they come out from certain standard text. So if you reach up to that standard text, read it out over there, bring it out on your sheet of paper, you will not face difficulty. Then you will not say that, oh, UPSC has asked this particular question, it is out of syllabus, it is out of line, it hasn't asked this particular topic earlier. All these problems or misconceptions that originate over here.
Right, sir.
Right? So those things must be taken care of.
So, sir, what you're saying is that the source needs to be revised n number of times, but that source itself is an outcome of multiple standard
Yes,
books.
exactly.
All right, sir. Sir, also, you're talking about note making and answer writing. Could you please shed some light on how important are case studies or tribal examples, flowcharts, diagrams in writing an answer and enriching its value?
See, with anthropology, writing a particular aspect, rather than case studies, the examples are more important. Obviously, these examples derive out of case studies. And presenting those case studies in a set of, say, with the set of examples or with the set of understandings, that should be taken care of, or that should be understood also. Second thing is about flowcharts. And it has been vigorously been said that at least your question must have, or your answer must have a presentable aspect, or your answer must have a flowchart. No, fine, that is acceptable. But how a flowchart and where a flowchart and why that particular flowchart is being created, that must be understood also. Whether you're preparing a flowchart or a diagram just to conclude the answer or to present the essence of that particular answer, or you're creating a flowchart just to say that I have to write it down, or I have to present it, or you are making a flowchart in the duration of writing a particular thing and presenting that chronology of these aspects which you are writing in the answer. That must be understood, and that comes up with experience only. While you write, while you present, that thing comes up. Obviously, the importance for diagrams and flowcharts is there. The examples is there. Thinkers is always there. Right? Quoting a particular thing, quote unquote, a particular thing into the understandings of a particular thinker. That all is there.
Right. Sir, is there any topic that you enjoy teaching personally and you look forward to it every year?
Being a biological science student, I always like genetics. That comes naturally to me. So it might be favorable, but not many questions are being asked. Right now, I have later on, I have developed interest in sociocultural anthropology, specifically biocultural anthropology, the biocultural evolution that clubs up everything, the biological understanding and the cultural understanding. So for me, the biocultural synthesis is quite important, and it is challenging also because there are multifaceted aspects of it, and it is interesting also because you try to analyze it, you try to understand it. You have a question this year also from biocultural anthropology, which became the hue and cry for students: political economy driving into the biocultural systems, or delimit the biocultural system, how analytical a particular question can be. But these are debatable aspects and they become quite interesting for us.
So, for our aspirants who are appearing for mains 2026 with anthropology optional, what do you think should be their strategy? Your batch is also coming around soon.
Yes, their strategy must be, I have spoken about all these things. For all those students who are appearing for 2026, one thing that you must pick up into, fine, we have spoken about then, revise things properly, assemble your facts, and try to arrange those facts accordingly the way they are being asked in PYQ, right, in previous year questions. So previous year questions and their analysis, complete questions, topic wise at least, to have understand those things at least for 4-5 years. That will give you the basic idea also how the questions are being asked and how they are being framed. That will also help you out with writing the answers also, right? That should be taken up, right? Also, now if you are appearing for 2026, don't take my advice of reading many contents altogether, right? You stick to your content, whatever you have read, fine, that is okay. You must look up to that particular content, revise that particular content, right? That idea of having many books read or the STEM content taken up is for those which are preparing now, which have started, which are the beginners, right?
So we also have a little rapid fire segment in our show. I would throw questions at you and you'll have to be quick.
All yours.
Okay, sir. If anthropology were a person, how would you describe its personality?
It is biocultural.
Biocultural. All right, sir. If you had to give the winning strategy for anthropology optional in one line to our students, what would that be?
Stick to basics.
All right, sir. Which topic made you think ये याद कैसे होगा?
Archaeological.
All right, sir. One anthropologist every student must know.
I would not say one. There is a list of quite many. At least for physical anthropology, there must be Franz Boas, because he stems out everything. Things originate from Franz Boas. And in the Indian anthropologist, understanding tribal culture is more important. So Majumdar.
All right, sir. Physical anthropology or tribal anthropology?
Physical always, because tribal originates from physical only.
All right, sir. Most underrated topic in anthropology?
Most underrated topic in anthropology is archaeological, actually. It is asking various tedious questions. It looks like static, but when it enters into deep down understanding, people start questioning problems.
Right, sir. Biggest myth about anthropology?
Biggest myth about anthropology, the one which we have stated earlier itself, it is not a science background student's optional, or neither it is a humanities background student's optional. It is simple for everyone. It is open for everyone to understand and absorb things. So practically, or another myth that right now is circulating or buzzing around, that you must not opt on to anthropology optional because the questions are now becoming tough, or the essence is now gone. It is not that easy to opt in for or to fetch marks out of anthropology. It is easy to fetch marks out of anthropology, right? And everywhere you will see, there is off the track, everywhere you will see, if there is a tough paper, the score goes high, right? So for all those students which have a particular misconception that, okay, I would not opt for anthropology because it is not that easy now. Nothing is easy. Every optional is scaled up to that particular limit, right? Every optional has its essence and extent. The important aspect is what you are able to understand. If you are able to understand the nature, meaning, the extents of anthropology, you should go in for anthropology.
Sir, would you like to please give a message to our aspirants who are planning to appear for 2027-28?
For 2027-28, we are here at Drishti IAS and we are announcing a particular batch also. The important aspect would be, don't be in a particular haste, right? Haste of, say, choosing onto A, B, C, and or different options, right? First, you try and understand the syllabus, try and understand the essence of the subject. If you are from, say, biology background, you will opt for anthropology. That would be a decision in haste. Or if you are, say, from sociology background, you can opt on for anthropology. Then that decision would also be into a particular haste. You try and understand the syllabus and balance it out, how fruitfully you would be extracting marks out of it. Second thing, it is as simple as it can be. It can be easily learned, it can be easily understood also. There is nothing which is very tough. It does not goes into the extents or extremes of, say, sociological thoughts also. It does not goes into the extremes of, say, scientific understanding also. So it is quite balanced and it can be taken up by all the different students, and it is easy and it can be it can be easily completed also. So all these things are the USPs of anthropology. They can look forward to it and they can understand this particular thing, that obviously if you are preparing for anthropology, you must look into the standard text, dig out standard text, what all essence of the things are there in the standard books, that must be taken care of, right?
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you.
this extremely eye-opening discussion.
Thank you.
I hope our students also got clarity regarding the optional and realized that when it comes to anthropology, simplicity is the mantra. So students, if you found today's video useful and fruitful, please click the like, share and subscribe button and do not forget to hit that bell icon. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.